Welcome everyone, Evelyn here. I posted a mother's message on the 16th and I wanted to go into more detail about it so that you understand the way that I received the message, because to me it was the most beautiful love letter from a father to his daughter, as in An to Ninhursag, as Namu, the primordial mother who birthed An in order to birth Enki and Ninhursag, or Ki. She has many, many names. And I wanted to preface the message so that you understand some of the dance they were doing in the words. So, for example, they use the terms Noah and Noha for Enki and Ninhursag. And Noha actually means still bird and foot, but meaning the measure of the rhythm in a poem. And it's the leg, the foot, the thigh, which reference that which supports the body. And Noha also means snake. So there's this energy of the Kundalini referenced to her as well. And I'll explain this as we go. Okay, so the original mother's message that I posted on the 16th and commented below 3 or 4 times, I forget how many times, but the comments are only on YouTube if you haven't seen them. So the message is, oh my, yes, so peaceful, so mother's nadi, as coma fades or the veil thins, the mother's show of power, Oa, that cow soul on loan, wireless command power key to the maximum power. And how can I hire you or lift you up? You will never know, Ma Noah, either you or nothing. Choose no ha, no joke. Noah Edo, which Edo is the earthly realm, the cave entrance, or Tokyo. The show of power of Osho, which is a Buddhist priest, or Japanese shogi, which is like in chess, the king of kings, right? Like in the Queen's Gambit, right? The one who wins the final king. So this is him introducing himself on I, Pahoho, and Pahoho in Hawaiian is a type of lava that is dark, smooth, and ropey. And the other one of the two main ones in Hawaii is initialed AA. And I saw it in lowercase AA, but it's this play between him as Pahoho on and AA, which is archangels, right? The two different lavas that come out of the mountains. And Ninhursag was known as the Lady of the Mountain. The hour, so the mania of Ea, who is Enki, or Poseidon. He's got other names as well. Somatic nadi, the coma fades, or the veil lightens in the show of power of Ma, or faded hands. And down below, they talk about of fall hands, which would then be his. Hers were faded hands, and his were the fall hands. And faded can reference the spring as well, regarding the future. The flesh does not know what it means. The power does not know what it means. The power is not known. The flesh doesn't know whether it is the power. The power is not the animal, right? The ego part of us. Their team does not know the power. The flesh or the power is not known, but everything is known. The flesh does not know or manage where the mana is not the animal. The time does not leave the hand, and this references time space as well. It does not leave the hand where the mana is the animal. The team does not know. And what is there? The flesh does not know what it does. Where the mana is not the animal, but everything is not known. Finish everything. What is not here? Do what you do. The flesh does not know what is the power, where the power or mana, because that's the same energy, is the animal. The end of Noah's life. The power or mana is the animal, the end of Noah's life. But everyone knows Noah. So here's On, speaking about his son, how proud I am that everyone knows Noah, but she, laughing water, is not here. What Hawaii is here? Do it, of fall hands, so referencing his son Noah. Do it, of fall hands. The flesh does not know what I can do. Where the mana is not the animal, the flesh does not manage where the mana goes to the animal, but everyone knows my son Noah. But where Noah knows, the flesh is not the source of light, the light of the light of Noah. The choice of Hawaii Noah, the man, the end of Noah's house. The Hawaii is not there. Her Hawaii, Noha, is the source of life. The flesh is not the source of power. The water is the power of the birds, the land of Noah. The Hawaii Noha is the source of life. The flesh is not lost. Or lost, the flesh is not the flesh. The wind is the flesh. The land of Noah, the Hawaii Noah, is what I will see. So he's saying, I will see her land. This is a choice. She doesn't have to do this. She doesn't have to show on, okay? Noha Ido, remember Ido is the earthly realms. So her earthly realms is the one who shows on. She lives as a living example and showing him that I, sacred Hopi prayer stick. Ido doesn't have to show it. The primordial, or the earthly realms doesn't have to show it and is not going to show me. Like, it's not her place to have to show me. It's Noah Idoma's place, which is the masculine or the Enki energy. Noah Idoma is the one who shows me. Ed Oma, or Idoma is Ed, or the talking head, the father, the extra dimensional, and then O in the middle is the human embodied by source, and then the mother. So Idoma, Noha Idoma, he's saying, is the Osho, that she is the king, priest, shaman. And remember back in Sumeria that all of the kings were called king priests, right? They were originally king priests. That's what their titles were. And also the shaman, they're also saying she's a healer. Noha Idoma is Osho, is the day I kill you, Shogi. So Shogi comes up as the eagle portion of Osho, right? Because Shogi is the king of kings, right? The kings who must battle to be the head king. Ed, you will have a voice. So he's calling his son Ed, Mr. Ed, the talking head. You speak on my behalf. Ed, you will have a voice. You will be Osho, I think, because he's saying his daughter is Osho, but he has not achieved that level yet. But he thinks he will be. Who is this Osho? Idoma is Osho. I'm sorry, Idoma. Edom was burned in the mountains. So he's saying, I came against Edom in the mountains, which is her. And then Edom burned Ani mountain, right, in rebellion to that. The Iduma was removed by An, I, so he's admitting that he caused the downfall. Then I mean Osho's snake. And so the word mean here came up after I posted this regarding the people who left Sumeria. So after the Sumerians were defeated, they were referenced as moving north as the Idumeans, I think is the name of the people. And this mean right here was coming up as them. So Idoma was removed by An, I. Then I mean, or the Idumeans, Osho's snake. Osho is again the king, priest, shaman, snake. So here is this reference in the Kundalini then following this line, which is referenced as Abraham, which will come up in my post afterwards. Because the ones who left Sumeria after they were conquered, one of them was believed to be Abraham, who then became part of the Jewish community. But here An is saying that here is where the Kundalini snake followed this line. Then I mean, or the Edo mean people, Osho snake, Edo, the earthly realm, who was then born on I, I'll just see where I am here. On I, then I meet Osho snake, Ito who was born, on I, Pahoho lava. So he's referencing him as the lava that runs through the mountain in Hawaii, which is her, because she's the mountain. And then referencing the issues with the brother and the kidnapping and all back then that would happen, right? The women were raped and taken whether they liked it or not. The fathers married the daughters and the granddaughters, and they slept with all of them and all that kind of stuff. And of course, bringing up the brother as Enlil. He talks about the hip and my thigh, that I'm in the mountains. I'm now in you because I've hired myself. I've raised in vibration. I am Pa, Ido Ma. So he's saying, I am me, but I'm also you. And this is what happened to me, to Osho, to her. Noha Idoma is Osho, or king, priest, shaman. And I, Pahoho, he is the lava that runs through her mountain. And he is the education, trying to show his son Enki from what he's learned so that he doesn't have to go through the same thing he went through. So he's saying education, and if it happens, Osha, if you need me, Osha, I am in Paho. And there's a triple reference here, really, with the Paho, because it has to do with the lava running through the mountain. But also the Ho has to do with Mary Magdalene and her being called a whore, and him admitting to actually it was them, right, the men back then that were the whores. And that the Ho also references a poem that I'll bring up in the comments as well, that was a poem about Enlil's Ho, which was supposed to be the gift of civilization at the time, that, he was being praised for everything he's done. All right, so then we go on. So my first comment here was the ultimate love story, from my perspective, of Father An of the Anunnaki, who are believed to be of Lyran and Reptilian empires. So that's how the Anunnaki came together, was wanting to merge the two empires who didn't get along so that they would. So merging the Lyran and Reptilian empires, so wrapped in his own love story of primordial Gaia, or that Namu mother who birthed An, so that An and primordial mother could then birth Enki and Ninhursag. And Enlil came from another mother with Anu, so that was after that. But Gaia and flesh, he was so wrapped up in his own love story of his mother, but also his wife, right? And the flesh that he couldn't see. He was so wrapped up in the ego part of it, that he couldn't see what he did to his own son and daughter, twins Ea or Enki, and Ninhursag or Ninki, and many other names that she was. Here in this poem, as Noah and Noha, coming against his own daughter through the plight of the humans that through him were created. So he's saying the humans that he created, because of course it was his son and daughter who were tasked with this creation. And he was the king of the empire, the queen of the mountains and the king of the humans. Hawaii is the homeland of Lemuria, and a strip of land between two waters of Mesopotamia, Atlantis and grandmother of the earthly realm, and sea. He speaking for his son and his son's love for her, that if he could get his son to wake and learn the lessons that he has learned, then he, her father, would be the lava that infinitely runs through her mountains, never to forsake her again, always able to find him there. Not Mary Magdalene, the whore that sees, or horse, whore that sees, but Mr. Ed, the talking horse, head. 'Twas Pa, self-admittedly, the Ho here, and now transmuted into Pahoho, the river that runs through it. The river that runs through it. And it's been coming up in my recent posts a lot as the initial word, and Sophia's word, which is the S word, which is sword, right? And in that truth, we're all just made of shit. And so it, the word, is. And so it is. IT and I shit. The sh that came before the it word. So then I came back on the 19th, yesterday. Since I had posted, I was led back to research Mesopotamia again, which I've been in there many times, to kind of put the pieces together more, because of course there's lots of different stories and not everything agrees with, not all the stories are exactly the same. But this is what I have been resonating with every time I go back into looking at Mesopotamia. So it's pulling Mesopotamia into Ur-3 time period, as well as Edom and Esau, and having to do with Isaac and his twins, Esau and Jacob, and of course Abraham in that time. So I went back into Mesopotamia again, where Edom is Esau, but Edom is also a location. And Esau meant red in the message here because he was born red all over. Son of Isaac, of Abraham, and Abraham is thought to be Amar-Sin, which was one of the kings in the Ur-3 period under Ur-Nammu. And Ur-Nammu was the only one who took Nammu's name, who was supposed to be the primordial mother waters. So under Ur-Nammu was then Shulgi, which was his son, who was known to have made a lot of changes for the good after Ur-Nammu, both of them together, but even more so his son. And then Abraham's supposed to be the king who was under Shulgi, or his son. So let's see, Abraham was thought to be the son Amar-Sin. And that polarizes to Marduk, or Marduk, who was known as Amar-Utu, the sun, which makes sense, right? The polarization between the sun and the moon, right? The very good line, and then the one who took us in the wrong direction. The son of Shulgi, grandson of Ur-Nammu, or the Ur-3 kings, around, and this all came up too from one of the cards from the LENORMAND KIPPER, or the other deck that I combined with that one. I forget which one it was. It's both the same author. But the card was of a letter, and the letter actually had writing in it, which I translated for you guys. But the date of the letter is September 19th, 2015. And I was guided to go back to the reflection of that, which was 2015 before Christ. Okay? So this is why I ended up back in Ur-3, because 2015 before Christ, or BC, is the Ur-3 period. So the kings around 919, 2015 BC was a date from that tarot card letter. Here's the people, Idumeans, that I called the mean in the post, after the Sumerians were conquered, headed north converting to Judaism, and they gave Herod as an example of one of those who did. So they're saying that Abraham from the kings of Ur-3 period, after conquered, migrated north and became the Jews, or this lineage for which the Kundalini runs through it, okay? So now Marduk is Enki's son, but resonated with his uncle Enlil, who had a poem about him called Song of the Hoe, where Hoe was termed as Al, which means hoe, being still, but Ar added then means hoe doing something. So the one is still and one is action, like the feminine, as Noha, which means still, and then Noah, which means the action of her. His golden hoe, talking about Enlil here, in this song poem, his golden hoe was being praised by the Anunnaki for all it did for the Sumerian civilization, from Kur, or Dur-Anki, the Dur-Anki mountain house, the garden of the gods, perhaps divine of An and Ki. Because remember, back then, even if Ki was his daughter, he still probably would have had a relationship with her And then she did have a relationship with Enlil as well, because they birthed children. But ultimately, her twin was her ultimate love, but he had to release his ego before they could come together in union. So the divine and Ananki, the heaven and earth that Enlil divided with his axe, supposedly, with his golden axe, also taking credit. So this golden axe would separate the sky from the earth, which is separating the father An from the twins, right? She's the mountain and Ki is the water. Separating the father from them so that Enlil could have control of him. The heaven and the earth that Enlil divided with his axe, also taking credit for Ninmina, which is another name for Ninhursag. It means mistress of the crown. So a lot of these titles are, can be used for multiple people because they mean certain things. So Ninmina, mistress of the crown, suggesting to create both priestess and king. So here Enlil was taking credit for having created the priestess and the king, but it was actually Ninhursag with Enki, because they were scientists, with Namu's help, the primordial mother, which was their mother, would create both priestess and king from brick or clay, which was actually scientist Ninhursag, Lady Ki, and Ma, Earth Mother, who birthed Ensag to become Lord of Dilmun, or Sinai. And notice that Ensag is En of Lord Sag, S-A-G, and when I brought up the antigens, I said that the S antigen kept coming up with the Arabs, and here is Ensag of Lord S-A-G. S-A-G is an abbreviation for the S antigen group. So it was really cool that that came up here as well. In MesopotamianGods.com is the whole story of all of her names and her relationship, their love relationship, and the court hearing, basically, of Enlil when he was being taken down. So from in MesopotamiaGods.com, Ninhursag quotes, because these are all supposed to be notes from different texts of what she had said, Garden of the Great Gods eastward in Eden, which is this, right, mountain garden where the gods lived. Enki calls her Nintur and Damgalnuna. Also Arash. Arash has also been used for others, which is fine because these titles mean things, right? And she's also called Ninmah here as well, as they took Enlil to trial. So then 49, not 50, would be present to this trial, since Enlil was the 50 number. He was counted out for the first time. 46 were sitting below, and An sat above with Enki, Ki, and Antu, Enlil's mother. And then the red-eyed, quote-unquote, Ninlil sat with Healer, Gula, and Bao, Enlil's half-sister, which is not Ninhursag. She who must be obeyed, Ninhursag, who fashioned his body. And this is she, Ninhursag, also called Ninhursaja with a J, and Saga with a G, and Nintur, and Sulpa-E, which actually ends up being her son, who acts as Lord, as Cul-Pa-Eda. So that was Ninurta, her son's title there. Her name was also Aruru as chief medical officer, and Enlil called her Nintud, T-U-D. She created Enkidu, man, E-N-K-I-D-U, man, which was here 2/3 God, 1/3 man, 11 cubits high, and 9 cubits chest. She also was called there Beletili, B-E-L-E-T-I-L-E, B-E-L-E-T-I-L-I. Heart's desire and spouse so dear, many names will be given to you. Mother Namu, see, who engendered An. Ninmah, Mami also was her name, M-A-M-I. Let's see. Ninhursag, or here it was G-H-A-R Sag. Nintug took clay from the top of the Abzu in her hand, and here's the reference to her hand that was also in the message that came up. She calls Enki her plant eater, which was great because in their falling out, Enki and her, it was because after he slept with their daughter and granddaughter, she was with the granddaughter, and they planted these plants just for them, and he went by and decided to just, eat them as he went, because he felt entitled to whatever he felt like doing, that anything he wanted to do, he could. So that's when she got pissed and cursed him to death, and then unless she came back to heal him, he would be no more. But it was very interesting because soma means a soma plant, which they don't really know what this plant is. But now it was taking me back to this plant that they squeeze the juice out of, are the plants that she had planted with her granddaughter that he ate from. So Enki, also called Nudimmud, Nudimmud, and her house was the Kesh or Kish house, and there may be arguments whether Kes or Sh was the same as Kish, but here it is the same. Given birth by a lion, she, the wild cow, so here now she's being called cow as well, which is bringing all of her titles together, had bore 7 children called the heroes of Sumer here, 8 of them who all sat at the King Anu's table. So yeah, I hope that brings some of the energies together for you. And I really felt like, and every time I went through this, even just reading it back to myself, I end up crying at the end, because here is this father who is telling his daughter, like, I'm sorry for what I did, my influence in what happened with the feminine and the humans, and I now humble myself. I've raised my vibration to a much higher place, and now I run through you as the lava in the mountain, because she is the mountain, and now he is the father running through her mountain so that she can have the strength. He's triggering her like the fire, right, lighting the fire beneath her butt, so that she can go higher and achieve what she's always deserved and wanted, as he's got her back, basically. And he's also helping Enki to raise his vibration higher, so that they can resonate and come into union. So I hope you like that message, because I keep reading it over, because it's like just the most beautiful poem I've ever heard. All right, guys, I will be back. I still need to finish your other read that I was doing to get up to date. And hopefully I can do that today. I am cleaning out the garage for the cats, so we'll see about that. And if not, for sure tomorrow. Today is the 20th. So I hope you liked that, guys. Thank you for listening, and rise and be love.